Sometimes they're coming from the north on 6, you know, from
A little bit of that maybe.
You know, and then they don't wanna go that extra mile and a half.
Like if I come from my place.
Yep.
I mean,
Well, yeah, that's a little
barricades
different.
aren't up, I go that way,
Yeah.
but now I just go down and come around.
Yeah, when you come up that way, but coming from Aberdeen, I don't know why, out here, why, it's only about a quarter of a mile down to that next road.
I don't know why anybody would wanna.
That gravel road is horrible. We farm along that down there. I hate that.
Well, it's,
The worst road ever done.
we come up to that stop sign, and they have teeth in your mouth, and you're done.
Don't be a paradise, so.
All right, I'll call this meeting of the Brown County Commission to order. Start with pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
2017 wood waste grinding for the Brown County landfill. Sealed bids will be received in the chambers of the Brown County Board of Commissioners, the Courthouse Annex, Aberdeen, South Dakota, until the hour of 8:45 a.m. Tuesday, August 1, 2017. At said time and place, all bids will be publicly opened, read, and considered by the Brown County Board of Commissioners regarding 2017 wood waste grinding for the Brown County landfill. Brown County will give notice to the successful bidder that his/her proposal has been accepted, and said bidder shall within 10 days thereafter enter into a contract with Brown County. The successful bidder shall also furnish proper certificates of insurance required by Brown County. Brown County is exempt from all federal excise tax and state sales tax.
Dakota wood grinding. Imagine that. Dakota wood grinding an hour, $580 per hour, and $1,900 to mobilize.
They went up $30 an hour.
Yep. They were $550 last year.
And what was the mobilization? How much was it?
$1,900. It was
$100 there.
$1,800. It went up $100.
Still reasonable?
Any questions? Reasonable, you know, for the volume of material that they can grind on a per hour basis.
So their total cost last year was just about $25,000?
$25,000. We didn't grind everything last year, you know.
Is it gonna be more this year?
We'll have roughly the same. To date, we've got about 1,100 tons to grind. And there was some left over from last year, so hopefully we can, you're gonna be in that $25,000 to $30,000 range in grinding.
You recommend that we accept that bid?
Yep, I do.
Motion from Fishback,
Second.
second from Sutton. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to authorize chair to sign the contract.
I'll move.
Second.
Motion from Sutton, seconded from Feldheim. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Just a little bit of history on the wood waste grinding. 2016 on the revenue side, we took in just a little over $40,000 on the, you know, that we generated from that wood waste. So the fees that we are charging do pay for that grinding cost.
Sure.
So that's, plus there's a little bit extra, and that's always what we're looking for. I mean, it costs us
That's the way we like to see
to
it.
push up and handle and take care of all that material, so, you know, we're still on the positive side on the wood waste
Okay.
and how we take care of it, so.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Any other questions? All right, what else you got?
All right, we got a couple more items here. We've got Leaf and Bob with Helms sitting in the back.
Okay.
They've got a contract for us to take a look at here this morning. Bob or Leaf, you want to come up here and...
I'll sit here and give you the hard stuff. Basically, we've been working with Mike out there to try to really nail down where things are at volume-wise, and so we just recently completed another volume survey, And in order to stay below ground, which is a much cleaner way to operate as long as you can, we feel you've got about a year and a half, right, Lee?
Yep.
About a year and a half left below ground. So now is really go the next summer, because a year and a half from now, we aren't going to be digging a hole in January. So that's really what we want to do. There's also a couple other issues we'd like to clean up out there. On the north side, there's always been some water kind of sitting. It's had a hard time keeping the buffer tree strips going there, so we're going to try to clean up some of that water on the north side. And then also, because of the amount of area open and the precipitation that we had before this year, we've been fighting with the leachate out there, getting rid of it, and it's been kind of a pain for his guys. And so we're going to try to find a way that we can maybe look at maybe some misters or something like that to try to get rid of the leachate.
To help evaporate that and not have to haul it or
Try
dig
to
a new
save-
pond, or, we're gonna try and go that route and see if that will help alleviate some of the, we're about half full on our leachate pond right now. Obviously, no moisture this summer, it's helped us, but,
But it really will cut down on his labor, I think, if we can find something that'll work that way. And I think over time, my fear is if we just put another cell out there, that as you continue to close things up, it won't generate as much leachate, and all of a sudden we got a dry cell. That doesn't make sense either. So that's what we're really trying to find and research a good option there.
just the estimated, you've got it on your sheets here, but that estimated construction cost is right at $2.2 million for next year. Helms fees, that includes the boring, right around that $250,000 mark. And when we did cell 2 construction, as you can see, B&B came in at 1.4, roughly, as far as what that actual cost was, and that estimate at that time was 1.7, so they did come in under the engineer's estimate. And I think we do have good local contractors here too, so, the timing is fairly good because of the big project going on out east of town right now. Next year, for us to do self-construction, it's gonna work out fairly
How long before we'd be bidding on this?
early, probably next spring.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, after the first year. Contractors, in my experience, seems like November, December, they're getting hit hard everywhere where they're late, and they kind of lose that enthusiasm. But if you let them have that Christmas break and get them January, February, seems like that's when we get our most interest and best numbers.
We will be going after grant funds again too, so we'll have to wait until that funding round is done before we, and that might be late yet this year, or first part of next.
Is that gonna be the same size cell?
I was just gonna ask that.
It's pretty close at the same size.
Pretty close, I think we're moving a few more yards of soil the way it looked.
We're gonna try to give Mike, right now, everything, the way it's initially set up on the master planning is to come into one collection point for the leachate too. And one of the things Mike's expressed to us, which we totally agree with, is we need to have backup plans or alternative ways, so that if something goes wrong with one, you can still get rid of it with another. So we're looking
So
at that.
we're working to try and, get those Plan B and C out there so that we don't have all that water, for the next 100 years draining to the north. We've got to split those drainage cells up so that they can, it amounts to, another lift station or, whatever we need to get that water out of that cell. So we're working on that too.
So is that the difference in the cost? If it's the same size cell, what's so special about this one that it's 500,000 more estimated?
Well, we hope we're high on our estimate too, but, honestly, from 2014 to 2017, that's a big chunk of it, is just, things just cost more now.
Inflation.
I think the cost to move the soil is part of it, I think,
Because
And
we
we
is
had
that about a
that before.
50-cent increase?
Sand, and we
roughly?
have the sand vein, a sand vein to deal with on the west edge too, that we gotta use a synthetic liner for.
We anticipate.
We anticipate needing a synthetic
Different
liner.
soil types in that area.
And if that's not the case, then that won't be needed either, but,
And if you look at we got a great bid from B&B in 2014. It was like 400,000 under the next guys, so, I mean, the next guys were right around both sides of our estimate, so.
That's not saying that's gonna happen again.
Right.
You know, we're planning high and hopefully we go low,
Yeah.
so.
Any other questions?
Especially when we're going for the grant funding, it's so much easier to give money back than it is to go back and say, hey, we were short.
Yeah.
So we hope we're slightly on the high side.
All right, are you looking for a motion today, Mike?
Yeah, we've got the contract for Helms and Max has got those, so yeah, we'll need a motion to approve those to move forward with design and engineering for this cell number 3.
Okay, we've got a motion from Feldheim, second from Hanson. Any other questions on the proposal here in the contract? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks, Lee.
And residential
All right,
cleanup.
yep, we'll move on. It's hard to believe,
Yeah.
you know, we're
I thought
talking
we
fall.
could finish.
Anyway, yeah, we need to waive those fees here, August 25th through September 9th. We're looking at our free fall residential cleanup. Landfill is the only drop site for this event. Just a little history on this is just on the spring cleanup. Earlier this year, we had 4,592 vehicles that came through, that utilized, you know, that spring cleanup event. So the most vehicles we've ever had come through that gate, you know, for that cleanup. And obviously you can see in 2016 it was 3911 and 2015 was 3866. So it's always a huge event for us, I mean, spring and fall. On the tire side, we have taken in roughly 450 ton of tires, or roughly 45,000 tires equivalent, that were in on this grant program that we were working with earlier this year. So we've got about 225 ton of tires yet to go, so I feel we've got room for, you know, to still accept those tires for free during this fall event.
It was one of our major problems here 20 years ago.
Yep.
We had a big pile of tires.
You know, and then previously, you know, we were accepting tires free ever since Spruce Up South Dakota was in effect, so there's only been a few years when we haven't had a limit on them, but we'll move forward with no limit tires this fall and waive those fees for residential users. Had quite a few phone calls and emails already on when's it gonna be. So,
speaking of residential cleanup, this probably doesn't concern Mike, but I was in 2 different places this weekend, and I had 2 guys approach me from different areas that, I mean, weren't even about junked vehicles sitting around out in these rural areas, different places. What's our ordinance say on that? We need a new ordinance to get rid of some of those unlicensed
I think it's
vehicles?
5 unlicensed.
Basically 5 unlicensed vehicles.
Had a guy from that direction and a guy from that direction, both complained to me in
Yeah.
2 different places. It's getting to be a problem out there.
We have cleaned some of those up in the past, and...
What's it say, 5 unlicensed?
5 unlicensed, yeah, beyond...
If they have more than that, what, we tell the sheriff when he cites them, or what?
Yeah, planning and zoning, they can send out a letter.
All right.
All right, any other questions for Mike? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to waive those fees for August 25th through September 9th.
So moved.
Moved by Sutton,
Second.
seconded by Fishback. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
all right,
Thank you,
we'll
Mike.
move on.
Thank you.
We'll be at the fair hauling garbage.
All right. Good luck with it.
Yeah.
Week from Friday, does 9 work if I come pick pallets up?
Just holler at me.
Okay,
It should work.
I'll do that. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we've got Michael Hauge, DOE Director, with a travel request. Good morning, Michael, how are you?
Great, how about you?
Good morning.
Hi.
I just wanted to, right now I've got a training scheduled in here in October. The offering that they have, I really don't think there's anything that's going to benefit me. So I looked around and I'm putting in a request to go to Austin. I'm going to take care of the travel to get there. It's actually less than me going up here. I just want this training I'd like. I kind of put it out and told you it's the IAA 112, it's income approach number 2. So.
And that's what were they offering up here? Same thing?
No, they're offering 201. They're offering just a bunch of homegrown classes that really don't
just kinda,
you don't get the educational benefit that.
Because you've already taken those, or you
They're
have
kind
to-
of
Yeah, they're
basic.
just, yeah, they're extremely basic, so.
Everybody want to see that?
What's the time factor? How long are you gonna be going down to Dawson? What's,
Just a week, just like the same as I would be in Pier. It is a different week, so it actually works better, there's more coverage in the office. The Pier, when we put it in, was an estimated about $1,300. The one that I'm putting in for is about $1,165, so it's actually a little less, but again, I'll probably just drive down. Like a lot, but
Any questions for Michael?
Gonna drive, are you?
possibly. And I did speak with Wendy Sumler from the Department of Revenue that it's an approved course, it counts for the CAA, for continuing education, so let's just clarify that.
Okay. Any questions?
Just put on travel
Yep,
then.
sounds good. Throw it on travel and we'll
Thanks
be
for
good to
the
go.
explanation.
Thanks for explaining
Thank
it.
you.
Next up, 9 o'clock, we got Scott Mike to discuss public support policy.
Good morning.
Morning, Scott.
Morning, Scott.
Has anybody looked at the forecast for tomorrow? Don't say the word,
Yeah.
but it actually has a 1 to the left of the decimal
Yeah, we've heard those
instead of the
before.
right.
Believe it when I see it in my reindeer.
Yeah.
God, I'm such a hater.
One in every crowd.
Good morning, we're here to readdress the public support policy and procedure that we talked about last week with the policy, the no logo, and it must be 2-inch block lettering, and wording it so that it states decals may include a logo that is approved by the Brown County Commission and will be placed in a designated space determined by the department head. Does that sound feasible?
Sounds good to me.
Does to me.
And that way we still have a little bit of control over it, and again, hopefully we won't have equipment gaudied up with 50,000.
We just want to look like a stock car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but we're getting $50,000, do we really care?
Yeah, you slap it on my pickup.
We all heard that.
50 grand, Scott. Put all your advertising you want.
All right,
I'm
any
okay with it.
additions or changes to it, questions?
No, I'm okay with the wording, and I'll move to approve the change.
Motion from Sutton.
Second.
Second from Fishbeck. Any other discussion?
I don't think that's a problem at all.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, so then, I don't know, we don't have to wait on that or anything. Can I have approval to approve this for that grant? Again, we'll put this above it, this will be our nickel, that'll stay on the trailer, you know, and then, this is what they're
Sure, that's high,
suggesting.
so we get a whole bunch more.
Yeah, that's the plan. And again, this is 1 foot by 2 foot, which, when I went over and measured and held stuff up, it'll actually look pretty nice, so.
Well, with the change, you're the department head, should be able to just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Looks good though.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
And then I think Gary's working with them on August 22nd to do a little They
plan on coming in.
unveiling and stuff like that with the cash, so.
Sounds good.
All right, okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Next on the agenda, well, actually, we got a minute here. Max, you wanna do a couple things?
Some people say they should
Minutes
have them
for July 25th general? Move.
Moved by Hanson.
Second.
Seconded by Sutton. Questions or corrections to the minutes?
Money if they want.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Lucky you didn't get the gavel.
It was important.
I'm just joking.
No more vacation for you.
That's right. Goes to the grindstone.
Claims?
Claims?
I'm scared.
Move.
Now we won't make any motion.
Second.
Motion from Sutton, seconded from Fishback. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, that brings us up to 9:05. Sheila Anderson, treasurer, with a tax matter. How are you guys this morning? Good.
As per our discussion a couple weeks ago, we decided we were going to declare the contracts in default on a quarterly basis versus waiting to the end of the year, and that's what these four are. you'll see on the bottom of each sheet how I kind of listed, they're all 4 behind on their May, June, and July payments. So I'd like to proceed to tax deed on those 4. And I need a resolution to declare each of the contracts in default by legal description.
Okay, well, they started like in January, February, March, April, they already made those payments.
Yes.
Like one started January.
Some started earlier. I just
That's
kind of
fine.
lined it on there so you could see what
Yeah.
they've been doing.
Yeah, I just didn't want, like it was beginning next January. I move, do we have to make a motion? I move that we accept these agreements to pay the back taxes.
We're putting them in default.
Put them in
Yeah,
default.
okay. Proceed with tax deed process.
Yeah.
Motion from Hanson,
I'll second it. Is
Second
that one,
from
did they make like 10 payments? The last payment, is that like 10 payments?
No, that is an error by the treasurer, putting one too many zeros.
Okay. I was just wondering, I was wondering if it was a $2,500.
You've been notified that they're not paying.
He was originally, he hasn't now. I can call him again.
You know, I know.
Yeah.
So, he's got one.
He'll be notified in this process too, but I can certainly give him another heads up too. Okay, will do.
Probably gonna get it back.
and the total amount due for all these, it looks like they're not gonna come in tomorrow and be able to, I mean, they're all significant amounts, it's not like they're monthly. Yeah.
This goes in a vicious circle, beg, 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 beg.
Yeah, promise, 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 and then
Yeah.
Okay.
come through.
So we've got the motion and a second. Any other discussion on those 4? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
You
nay.
don't want that, do we?
Motion
No.
I
carried.
wanted something.
Okay, and on this next matter, we're back to what I had spoke to you briefly a couple of weeks ago about. Brown County took a tax deed on the property with the description on the top part. That's how we did our tax deed, lot M1. When we went to file that in the Register of Deeds office, they would not accept our tax deed. They said the legal was incorrect. So, I had the assessor's office do some research. They've corrected the legal to what it says on the bottom, which is Hecla Lot 1. And they've corrected it in my books for 17 and for 18, but they refused to correct it in my books for 16 without you interceding. And if you don't, I can't even do a new tax deed this year. I'd have to wait till next fall again when that new legal description is delinquent. So I'm asking you to step in and ask the assessor's office to change that legal description for 16, payable 17, even though the books are closed. We do that all the time with abatements, omitteds, we make changes to fix my legal description, so at the very least, I can proceed this fall to re-advertise and redo my tax deed without having to wait an additional year, which would take it down to 2023 till I got it straightened out. He won't do it for me. He did it for 17 and he did it for 18. You can see down below, he did it for 17, but he won't do it for my 16 book.
Okay, any questions?
What's the amount owed in taxes on that?
Peanuts. What, I think it's amounts to $100 in 5 years. It's nothing. It's
Just
not
trying to get
worth
it
our
cleaned up.
time or effort or aggravation. It is not worth it. But we have to treat every parcel the same.
Gary, did you happen to do any research to find out who has to carry the exact legal in the county?
Yeah, the assessors don't, but like Sheila said, it's just a matter of, you know, whether you want it cleaned up sooner or later, and the longer you wait, and then it just gets dragged out more and more, but it's not required by them.
How hard is it?
Cut and paste.
No, cut and paste, it's,
For them to change it, you mean?
right. More or less just you know, they always just worry about if anything else was done on that parcel in the past, and then then the legal gets changed on it.
So if it isn't their responsibility, whose is it?
Well, it's basically that you should be using the deeds, that's the bottom line, is that
What do you
whatever...
mean, you? He prepares the documents for the county, so there's no you about
the
it.
deeds are recorded, and the
Right, but
legal,
he
those are the
prepares-
correct legal
But he
descriptions.
prepares and I'm not trying to argue with Gary, but he
Yeah.
prepares the legal that goes on my tax
He
document.
who, the director?
Yeah,
the director.
So I mean,
Organization puts
I
in-
can't change
But
that.
they're not required to put full legals in and recorded legals. That's done by the recorded deed, so...
Right, but isn't that a
You can't
vicious circle then, if he's not
you
gonna...
can't put there's some legals that are...
I know, but we had this
wrong.
discussion.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to. That's why they're not required to put the recorded legal into the description.
I know, but I thought you
Right.
said we were gonna do it according to, say, per book and page versus...
Yeah, and we certainly can attach a hyperlink or something to the deed.
Because we're just in the middle of this
But you still have to
vicious
use
circle
it, yeah.
Do you have any access at all to the deeds legal descriptions?
Well, we can go down to
Yeah,
the
we have-
Register of Deeds, but the state's attorney went down to the Register of Deeds office, researched the stuff, this is what they gave them, and, here we are again, back around.
See, what happens is they filed a deed at the Register of Deeds office with the legal description that they got from the assessor, kind of in shorthand, or maybe
Who's
some
they
attorney.
file?
Well, whoever filed this deed, but they accepted it at the Register of Deeds office. And it was probably prepared by somebody that used the shorthand one that wasn't quite accurate. So when Penny went down to research this, and she asked for a deed, and they produced this, and it had the wrong legal. And what we did in the state's attorney's office is ask her to not just take the latest deed, but go back to the actual plat and look at the actual legal description and use that from now on. And that would be another check to make sure that if we start out with something that looks like it's correct, but it turns out it isn't, we catch it before we go through this whole process.
Right.
But I think the word change the legal description really isn't accurate here. What you're asking for is that it be amended to reflect the accurate legal description. That's all you're doing, is you're just correcting an error in the legal description. And that's something I think the commission is entitled to ask for, so.
So when I draw up from the Beacon, I'm not gonna get just a brief thing that I can research later for the full legal if I need it. I'm gonna be getting a lot more.
Well, it depends on how it's set up, but
if we're able to do a hyperlink in the legal description that just shows what the deed is, we can certainly do that.
And then you can put copy
Yeah,
of
then you
deeds,
would
whatever
have-
the
But
half
still,
page or the
it
3
still
page.
would be a matter of them clicking on the link and
Yeah.
making sure they check that that's the corrected, true, recorded legal description.
So in the deeds office, when they got the incorrect one, is that corrected now?
No.
Yeah, no,
It's
not
not.
in...
So they
in-
have 2 legal descriptions for this piece of property.
And that's an issue too, that they gotta watch out too, that whenever there's a new thing filed for a property, that it matches the correct...
You should go back and look how it was originally to
Yeah.
make sure it's right, huh?
And there's human error, I know
Yeah.
that, but I just...
And Larry, that's outside of our authority to go to Register of Deeds and say, these are the same piece, even though it's not the right legal, so we can pick up where we left off without losing time.
Yeah, I'm not so sure you can set a policy on how specifically they're supposed to do their job as an elected official. But when you got a discrepancy like this, where all that's being requested is you take the shorthand legal description and revise it to be the actual legal description, I don't think that's outside your authority.
Because there's always things that I came across, and I think I sent you all a note, came across a release of mortgage that was recorded on the wrong lot. It says Lot 4 instead of Lot 5, so these people think everything's taken care of. They did this 2007, everything's taken care of, that they paid off their mortgage, and then when they go to sell, all of a sudden they come up, they go, well, there's no release here, you know, those things happen.
What were you guys saying?
Well, Max explained this to us, so, because I'm not following it either here.
Okay, basically what Sheila needs is just one more year of the amendment made, so she can proceed with the tax deed.
Correcting it
Well,
without...
Well, they've
coming
already
back.
done it, Nancy, in 2017.
2017.
All we're asking is for, to do another more year.
But so they have to go, put in their records that this was backing up. I mean, somehow they have to have some backup.
Yeah, and they determined that it should have been the others.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They just need to cut something from the deeds office saying that was wrong.
They've already got
They've
that.
already got that.
Then how
They
come
just
it's
need
nothing
us.
changed?
They need us to do it.
They just
That's
need
right.
one more year to go
There you
back.
go.
We have to do it?
You have to tell them to do it.
Yeah, since he's not required, he's saying that, you know, that...
Well, I make a
if
motion
you
to
direct them,
change it.
you direct them,
Hey, got a
they'll do
motion
it.
on the table from Commissioner Hanson
Thank
to go
you for
ahead and
explaining
direct
this
them
a
to
little
change
clearer.
2016. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sutton. Any other questions on what we're doing? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you,
Motion
Simon.
carries.
Clear as mud, but I think I finally got it.
There you go. Appreciate your time, guys.
No.
All right, that brings us to our next agenda
All that
item.
for $100.
Making bank, right? All right, Derek Ritchie, Fair Manager. We've got a number of items to address. How are you this morning?
How are we doing today?
Good. Where do you want to start?
We'll start with temp employees. So you always come very well prepared, you always have all your paper.
Normally he needs to hand it out himself because we mess up.
Yeah, we get it
I
out.
hope the staple
I'm getting
gets
better
out.
at this staple.
Better be stapled.
They are stapled. Oh, nice.
I'm learning, only took a year.
This is actually for civilians.
There's one. No, keep it all. It's all together.
All together. Simplifying it.
I know.
Did you have one for Gary?
Yeah.
Before you leave, you need to sign this,
Okay.
and, there's
Uh-oh, you guys.
Did you get two
The
pieces?
display
Today.
I only got one piece.
This goes with you then.
This goes with you.
I thought Gary needed one.
No, I believe you should have one with a logo and one that doesn't have a logo.
I'll call it.
Gary,
I didn't get the one without the logo.
I'll share with Gary.
That's all right, yeah.
But I got one for the file.
Okay, and I need one without the logo.
Can you pass the one for the file so Gary can look at it?
You need one without the logo?
Oh, this is the only one I have.
I don't have one.
Now I have two of the same.
I don't have one without the logo. This is for Gary. This is for Gary.
We should have two.
Oh, no, that can, you don't need, that's for a different meeting.
This is something.
I'm mad at everything. No, I'm just.
Here, Dwayne, I'll share.
We're just gonna work on the memo.
For a different-
We're just gonna work on the
Another
memo.
meeting?
But just there you go.
Okay, never fails.
Never
Never fails.
Okay, are we
It's obviously gonna take
Yeah.
It's obviously gonna take longer than a year.
Yeah. So the first thing we're gonna do is...
Next time, try emailing.
You know, I think that's what we'll do, we'll just email it, and then everybody can print their
Of
own.
course, I can't get into mine today, because
Okay, temporary employees.
First one is temporary employees for the office. You'll notice that we'll be bringing back Jan. Just for about 10 days surrounding the fair. She has a significant amount of fair experience with the Sioux Empire Fair, so she's going to come up and help us man the office and be able to also be a ticket supervisor for us, kind of a quasi-ticket manager.
Is she from here in there?
She's from, she lives in Sioux Falls, but I think she's from here on Baltic maybe originally.
I just wondered when you said experience at the state, that's what...
Yeah, she's been with the Sioux Empire Fair down in Sioux Falls for a number of years. So She'll be working an equivalent schedule to the temporary employees. We do lose one of the interns for those 2 weeks, so we're going to be using the payroll that we were using for that intern to cover half the time, and then the other half with that other intern position that we have open that we have not filled purposely. And then the bottom line is going to be the 2 ticket supervisors that we've hired preliminarily. We have about 7 interviews set up over the next 2 days to hire more ticket sellers. So we should be able to round that out and present the ticket sellers next Tuesday.
Is this the same hourly rate we did last year?
Same hourly rate, yes. Yep. And then the back page is an explanation of the security interns that we're going to be working with. Larry Lovin, who's the department head or advisor for the criminal justice program at PC. It talks more about the stations that we're going to have them at. They had till August 1st to respond. Larry's got that number whittled down to about 20. We'll do a series of successive interviews to narrow that down even further based on aptitude, skill set, and availability. And we'll present those next Tuesday for formal. But that way it's kind of a sneak peek preview of where we're sitting.
Are they going to be wearing security t-shirts?
Yep, we'll have security t-shirts for them. And we want to identify them as security, but not as being with the law enforcement side.
All right, any questions for Derek?
I would make a motion to approve the rates for the temporary employees.
Motion from Sutton,
Second.
second from Feldheim. Any questions on those? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And then now we have the promo list, which we'll pass around.
These are all the employees you're hiring for the fair.
As of right now, we still have tickets that we'll need to hire, but these are supervisors, office staff, security interns, and ticket sellers. The baseline ticket sellers will be presented next week.
And then you'll just have them come up here
Yep,
and
fill out all the
fill out the paperwork?
Yep.
Okay. You coordinated that with Aaron?
We will be after the meeting today. I wanted to make sure it was approved first before we did that.
Okay, so this is your promo list.
Yep, it's broken down into categories. The first category is going to be anything that's contractually obligated or board as it applies to general admission for the concert tickets. Then the second section is going to be the 24 GAs that were assigned via the board a few years ago for nonprofits and for giveaways. The third section is going to be the promo list for rodeo tickets. And then the fourth section is going to be the promo list for carnival tickets.
How many 6-seater golf carts you gonna get?
4.
They're really a need out there.
Yeah, we eliminated the 8-seaters just because it was a good idea to try the 8s, but the turning radiuses are a little too wide for some of the drivers, so we're going to switch those up for 6-seaters. So we'll have, we had 2 6s and 2 8s last year, we'll have 4. And then the very bottom one, the miscellaneous, those are the ones that are contractually obligated to the artists that are performing. But then you'll notice the asterisks on the bottom. While the number is contractually obligated, historically most of the artists that are opening use between 10 and 15, and the headliners use between 20 and 25. So, and it does not stop there from asking for higher numbers.
Do those folks only get tickets to their own concert?
Just to their own concert, yep. Those are just single days, that's why we broke them out specifically for, on that last section there.
And those are all general admission.
They generally missed.
Right.
So we've tried to clean up over the last 2 years some of the passes that may have been handled. So everything that, we're putting everything through the system so that way everything is above board and people can look at the list and audit it as needed.
Okay, any questions for Derek? Looks good. Do we have any questions?
How was the promos compared to last year?
What
is the total? I guess I didn't total them up, but what is
the requests are a little bit up from the artists, but it's not up too significantly from what the artists request last year, but what they actually used was only between 10 to 15. So a lot of the headliners were request between 30 and 50. So Old Dominion's requesting 50 this year, Trace is requesting 60. Those are a little bit higher on the request side, but we won't know until they actually get them, because they'll use them to push through their website. And so if they're going to do a performance, let's say in Rapid City or something like that, really that VIP list comes from about 150 mile, 180 mile radius, so. It's flat. The only up is going to be Aberdeen Sport and Rec before for the four-wheelers, or for the side-by-sides. We're able to get 2 from them this year as opposed to 1, so that's up by 2. But it's in line with what the other dealers are getting.
Okay, any other questions for Derek on the promo list? Entertain a motion to approve that. Moved by Feldheim, seconded by Fishbeck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And how's everything else?
Going well. Slow and steady, which is good.
And our sign-up sheet for, is that rolling with security?
Sign-up sheet is rolling. We do have some sign-ups at this point. There's a little bit of tweak to some of the shifts, so we're about 1 or 2 light on certain days, but we're actively recruiting, and Tom and I talked about it, so we'll reevaluate at the end of this year based on what our result is. I think with the security people at the gates, working with PC folks, I think that'll free up certifieds and non-certifieds to work the crowd control portion, so. While not ideal, I think it's moving in a better direction than maybe you might have anticipated, but we did lose a couple folks to relocation on both sides, so we're working our way through that one.
Did he just hand this to me, this is a copy, to
That's-
see
yeah.
where we're at?
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit before the meeting, so
Gotcha.
that's where we
Yep.
sit today. I appreciate his help and trying to corral that, that's never an easy job.
Okay, any other questions for Derek?
Derek's here, you wanna talk about your travel request for Keloland?
Yeah, we had an interesting opportunity that came up late last, I think it was Thursday, if I remember correctly, Thursday afternoon. They don't have a reporter in Aberdeen anymore. The reporter has relocated to a different job, and they haven't had a chance to fill it yet. So they do a program called Inside Keloland, which is kind of a half-an-hour program. So they're asking if we would come down. It's about a 5 to 7 minute segment. We would combo that with going down and doing a site inspection for Murphy Brothers, who are set up for the Sioux Falls, the Sioux Empire Fair. So we would combine that and do a security check and a safety inspection as well while we're down there.
So just a one-day, down and back?
Yeah, down and back.
Program that's on Sunday night at 10:30.
Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, it's Sunday, so.
I think the viewership is in that.
What day is it?
10:30 on Sunday night.
It's this Sunday, right?
I was not aware of it until they called.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else was either.
When are you going down, or when were you looking at going?
It would be Thursday.
There's a couple people like to see it, I suppose.
Well, and if it's recorded, you can put it on social media.
Yeah, that's true, that's true.
So they're gonna do, it'll be Sioux Empire, Turner County, and then we would fill the third spot.
Did you put that on the travel list?
I had emailed it to Gary.
No, we hadn't, because, just because it was a last minute deal but yeah, so basically, we're asked to pay for the gas to go down, but, it's good advertising. I think it's a good thing to do.
We need to put that on our
Not a
travel
huge
list.
expense to us.
Sounds good, yep, let's add it to the travel, and
I'll need a copy of the email.
can you send an email?
I'll forward it over to Max, yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Derek?
Your people, your training for the new hires, when does that take place?
So, they'll occur on the work weekends? A lot of the temps are repeats. The 2 supervisors, actually, one is a ticket seller at Ken's and one is a ticket seller at Kessler's, so they're really familiar with the program, which is another reason why we're looking at doing that. And then as far as Julie, she's actually on site today, so with the approval, we would actually have her start training today.
Who else going to Sioux Falls?
It would just be me.
Just you?
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that we talked about it first before we just assumed we put it on the travel form.
And if it was approved, we would use that to do the security site inspection too as well for the setup on the carnival. We'll also look to obtain copies of the AR-100, which is basically the safety form that's required by the state too as well, in light of recent events, so.
Okay.
Rather be safe than sorry, so.
Just to clarify, a person goes to an outlet to buy their ticket, they're paying the same thing somebody online is.
Online, the ticket fee is higher than in person.
Oh, it is?
It is, yeah.
Do you know roughly how much?
It's $1 flat if they purchase them in the box office environment. If they purchase them online, it's
Oh,
based
it is.
on the price of the ticket.
Okay.
So anywhere from 50 cents more to $1.50, depending upon the price of the ticket, so.
So you do save a little bit by going to your
You do.
outlet.
Yep.
How are we doing on, I know it's just August 1st now, but our monthly reconciliation and getting that in with numbered tickets?
Yep.
Is that all?
Those have been sent over. We've been sending them over for Hitchin Post because the checks are written directly to the Brown County Fair, whereas with Kens and Kessler's, they are in effect the purchaser because they're guaranteeing the checks and the cash, so we're reconciling with them on a monthly basis. So I'm actually going over to meet with Tim, actually, that was one of the reports that we passed out by accident, if you will, to reconcile July. So rodeo tickets are the one that is the biggest one. I mean, our impact exposure for June for sales tax was, I got it right here. It was like a couple $100, I want to say, for gross ticket sales. Total ticket sales between cash and check for June. 380.43 gross, so then you take percent of that, so divide that by 1.06. Your tax exposure for the month of June was...
Derek, I just gave Max the hard copy.
Oh, of the email?
You don't have to email us.
Okay.
I don't think I need to know the amount, just as long as it's getting to who needs to report it.
Our tax exposure was 2153 for the month of June, so...
And that's where it needs to be, or whoever needs to get that?
As far as that is.
Okay,
I will check and make sure that that is still the case.
perfect. Any other questions for Derek? Sounds good. A couple weeks to go and rocking and rolling, so thank you.
Upside, I don't want to jinx it, we're about 5.5% ahead revenue-wise for ticket sales, so, good.
Good deal.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great
Thanks,
one.
Sarah. You too. Have a good day.
That brings us to the end of the regular agenda. Let's
Thanks,
go
Tom.
the rest of your list, if you would. Okay.
It's cold in there.
Yeah, it just sure got cool all of a sudden,
It's
didn't
warm
it?
today.
Good to leave the warm
This
left
tomorrow
room.
is cold. It's warm in here today.
What's that, Max?
She thinks it's
Warm
warm.
in here today.
It's cold right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blowing
No.
over here.
Compared to what it has been.
Oh, okay.
Gary, on your HR report, all you had on there was
Yeah, I
your,
couldn't do it on my arm.
Yeah, I seen that, yeah, so, I mean, we can have it as amended. I don't know if you wanted that longer version that Scott was discussing, that's not what we had talked about on the HR report, but if you want to amend it to what he was reading off, that's fine. It's basically the same thing, it's just a longer version of it.
I'm okay either way. I mean,
It was
the way he
fine.
worded it sounded good, I
It was
guess.
fine either way.
I didn't have that one in front of me, so I didn't know how
Yeah.
it exactly compared.
I just basically had the one sentence, so.
Do you wanna leave the HR report as is? Or do you wanna?
That works. It's the same thing.
it'd be a
either
double
way,
motion
so,
for the same thing if we do
Yeah.
anything with the HR report.
Yeah.
Do you prefer to take it out?
Well, I don't think you need any action on the HR report because there's
Oh, that was
nothing-
all that it was.
we already
That was
took
all.
care of it, yeah.
Skip it then.
On it.
On to the next thing.
Okay, special malt beverage license, two of them, Aberdeen Hockey for the week of the fair for the clubhouse and Celtic Fair on September 16th.
Move.
Second.
Motion from Hanson, second from Sutton. Any questions on those licenses? All in favor?
We've been paid.
Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Set hearing date for ordinance 17-08-01, county number 469.
Move.
Moved from Sutton, seconded from Fishback. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
You want
nay.
these back?
Motion carries.
Yeah, and then I'll have them for you the day of the first reading.
I was looking for it.
Okay.
Wait a minute, it's here.
There is a plat that they're replatting the property over at First Avenue Southeast. And this is the new plat that would put BMX, what they're buying from Boys and Girls Club together as Lot 2, and then the remaining Boys and Girls Club as Lot 1, and then the remaining property that the county owns is Lot 3. And what needs to happen here, we need Rachel to sign as owner.
Move.
Second.
I'll be glad when this is
Second by
done.
Feldheim. You take a peek at it, it's exactly what.
All the
we're talking about.
legals.
Seen it a couple weeks ago.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, a lease, for there's two of them. There's one for the Celtic Fair, and then I received a call from Shelley at Aberdeen Downtown. This Saturday, there is an event on Main Street. They would like to lease the west half of the parking lot and ask that the fee be waived. And they would take care of blocking it off, roping it off before they need it.
Saturday, you said?
Yes.
Why would they have to rope it off? Nobody's using it.
Well, they said that,
Some people do go park there.
I suppose.
just so that their area, they can park on the east half,
I
but
see.
just so the west half, there's no
No
cars there.
parking, okay.
Yeah,
I'd move that.
both of them?
Okay, we've got a motion
Celtic
from
and,
Yeah.
okay.
Fishback,
Second.
second from Sutton. Any questions on the
What
one there?
is going on? What's going on?
I didn't ask, yeah.
And why weren't we invited, right?
That's not the, when's the,
It's not the car thing, is it?
that's what I was wondering.
I think
All right.
that's coming up later.
Okay,
We've got a
lottery-
motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Lottery application, Elm Lake Resort, but not Resort Association.
Move.
Motion from Feldheim, second from Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
The operating transfers, we did a couple earlier in the year, but the remainder is for highway for $2 million and for dispatch for the $206,997.69. And this is per the 17 budget.
Move.
Motion from Sutton, second from Hanson to move those monies. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Documentation is starting to come in for the 2020 U.S. Census. Do you want to designate Scott Madsen as the coordinator for everything? Because he puts all, he's agreed, so if you want to name him that way, anything that comes in, the commission won't even have to look at
Unless
it.
Rachel wants it.
Ha ha ha. I would entertain a motion to make Scott Madsen our
Move it.
designee. Motion.
Second.
Motion from Fishback, second from Hanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Don't say we didn't.
I was really tempted, but.
Yeah, I bet.
Fair contracts.
Move.
Move from Feldheim,
Second.
second from Sutton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
There's fireworks permit for August 19th. That's the Saturday night at the fair after the concert.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Sutton, seconded by Feldheim. All in favor of fireworks, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
There's an agreement for Midco to authorize the chairman to sign.
And I did get one back, and it says that contract, the connection is used for our comm network to provide internet to the EDTs when they are being worked on here. We cannot have them on our network for the mobile connection to work in Stillman, so without this connection, we cannot test these computers before they go back on a patrol or fire unit. So I think it's, the only part is the top one. I don't think these video ones,
Okay.
I think it's good.
That looks like an all-inclusive contract.
Yeah, it looks like you have cable and everything else of it.
Okay.
Do we have premium channels?
Yeah.
Make sure that the motion says no premium channel. So I'd entertain a motion to approve that renewal contract with Midco.
So moved.
Moved by Sutton,
Second.
seconded by Fishback. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
There were some invoices from a company. Did you want to discuss those? They're older invoices, and you need to decide if you are going to pay them or not.
We paid everything from this year, but these were invoices given to us this year for like back in 2011. I think we need to do some more research and figure out, unless somebody has a different idea, where this got sent and why they're coming up now.
Yeah, why they weren't paid.
I think we need some answers as to where they went, if they got sent at all, why the delay, and why is it coming to light now instead of 4 years ago?
Or somewhere in between.
Right.
Because if there was documented emails of us getting them, or somebody in the county, I mean, we want to pay them, but if we didn't get anything, how do you do that far back?
We can certainly do that. I think Paul has documentation pretty much of everything that was sent and received, so.
Yeah,
Because I know in the...
It's pretty irresponsible just to pay it without checking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, why he sent them after the fact
Exactly.
is a good question.
Because I know in the past, we've denied payment on something that, you know, we've already closed out those years' books, and we've said, well, that year's closed. So I don't think we can just pay them without doing some more research here.
Would you mind
Okay.
having them just send
Yep,
us some?
you bet.
Okay.
Have him give you a report.
Thank you. All right, anything from you, Gary?
Let's see. I just wanted to let you know that, we had talked about the auction rules for the Groton Home contents. Vic would like us to hold off another week. We plan on visiting the site Thursday. He might have some other ideas, he said, on how we may want to do that. So if that's all right with you, we'll hold off another week on those auction consideration. The old library in the city's actually planning on auctioning some items off on September 26th. I don't know if you were interested in having Judy or somebody attend that event to see if there's anything worthwhile that we can use that we may want to purchase or not.
Well, we kind of normally do an exchange, like if,
Yeah,
you know, the
they
city,
They haven't
they
said
haven't
it- they haven't offered
anything.
us anything.
Well, then
this
I don't know
time,
if we
so-
want, I don't.
Do they have it?
We give them ambulances or whatever.
We may be able to, they haven't quite decided what they're all taking yet, but towards the end of August, we might be able to get in and see exactly what they have
If she
left
Or
over.
knows of something she's interested in.
Okay, yeah, they were talking about maybe some of the files, the book files for some of the books downstairs or something, but we'll just play it by ear then and maybe go take a look at the end of the month.
Does anybody use a book nowadays?
Yeah, it's just storage of all those older ones. All right, sounds good.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Anything from you, Larry?
Nothing.
All right.
Are we
Anything?
gonna put the sign back up in the parking lot for Brown County parking?
This one across, yes, the one across, she is doing that.
Okay, I was
Nice.
just wondering if it's gonna go back up. It's a nice parking lot. I
It
think
is.
it's handicap spots.
Okay. Anything else from the commissioners?
I was asked this morning, Gary, could you look into what it would take and what we need to do, if anything, or if it's possible, to add a crosswalk coming from the parking lot across the street to the west, and
Okay,
then also the north?
okay.
It's felt that without that crosswalk, people aren't slowing down, and it's dangerous for our employees to walk
Sure.
across, in addition to people visiting the courthouse.
That,
Another thing, when you said crosswalks, reminds me that one on Roosevelt and Fairbound Road. I was under the impression when Bunceness and Rex were here, that they were gonna paint it and then sign it, put signs up for like children crossing or pedestrian, there's no signs,
okay,
you know,
I could check
like
that too.
a flashing light, so they,
Yeah,
school crossing, or, it's not a school crossing, but it's,
They said they couldn't tell the guy what to do. Didn't they?
Okay, Gary, good luck.
We can certainly ask.
Just remind them that that's kind of where I thought the agreement was going, that we
Yeah.
would do that if
It's
they
nice to
made
have
it clearly
someone.
marked and
Okay.
Great.
Anything else from the commissioners?
Where's the signage company when you need them?
About the folks in attendance.